Welcome to the Millennium Marriage Podcast,
where we discuss practical tools and insights into the joys and challenges of marriage.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Millennium Marriage Podcast. We are back in full effect, and this is sadly going to be the final episode of Season 1.
I'm sad.
Boo frickety hoo.
I'm sad, but because we've been having a really, really good time.
Yes.
But I'm excited because we are going to be just working on some other things from Millennium Marriage during our time off, and really coming back with another level of conversation for you guys, and some additional resources and tools, and we are excited. Yep. So even
very
though
excited.
Yeah, we're sad to be leaving you for a little while.
Yeah, it's just a short break. That's all.
So just be looking out for Season 2 coming soon.
We're going to let everyone know when it's coming out. We'll be working on some more content and just being able to just hit the ground running when we come back.
So make sure you are following us on social media at Millennium Marriage. That's on Facebook, Instagram. You can also visit our website, www.millenniummarriage.com. So stay tuned, keep in touch with us, and yeah. But right now,
it was a little bit of a tongue twister there.
It was. You were supposed to just let me live on that one.
I'm sorry.
Y'all see that? He wasn't even going to let me have that moment.
Sorry, it's the last episode.
Last episode.
And it's perfect because our topic is...
What'd you say? Because or because?
I said because. Don't try to get me back. Don't try to get me back. That's not going to work. But it is perfect because our topic this episode is going to be men versus women.
Men versus the women.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you all know how...
Men are from one planet and women are from another. I always get stuck on what planet it is.
Mars. Men are from Mars.
Men are from
Mars.
I always get confused on that because, well, we're not going to get into all that.
Okay, yeah, that's... So, it sounds a little competitive, which we are, but that's not what we mean when we say men versus women, okay? What we're going to talk about today is just the differences in men versus women, and how those differences affect our relationship, our marriages, and how we kind of work through them. So we're just going to identify a few. I'm sure that some of them will sound very familiar to our listeners. And again, these are generalizations. It's not to say that there aren't situations where it's not, the men aren't feeling this type of way, the women are, because there's an exception to everything. But based off of research, based off of our experiences and the experiences of most couples that we know, the things that we're talking about will probably align with a lot of what you all deal with in your everyday lives and in your relationships.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of things that you've already you're dealing with, or things that you already might be thinking, just different things where you're going to say, oh, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in thinking that. I'm not alone in feeling that way. And you're never alone. Like we all go through similar things, and this is just going to be a good episode to really bounce different things off of each other in a loving way.
In a loving way, as always. So, with that being said, usually it's ladies first, but I'm going to hand it over to you to start this conversation off.
How wonderful of you.
I try to be thoughtful sometimes. So, Jose.
Yes.
You tell me, what is one of the top needs of a man when it comes to his relationship? What is one of the top things that you as a man need from me as your wife?
So, as everyone's brain went, you were all going to think I was going to say sex.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a high one, but I would not say it's number one.
Okay.
I would say at least for me and for other gentlemen that I have had conversations with, respect is one of the highest on our list. And it's not just respect as in, respect in a attitude kind of way. It's respect in our conversation. It's respect in our decision making. It's respect in
Every
everything.
way, shape, or form.
Yes.
Yeah.
It means a lot. And maybe it's a ego thing. Men do have a very big ego that needs stroking every once in a while. But it's just it allows us to be the man in the relationship. We don't want to be spoken down to. So there's the respect in the conversation portion.
Right.
You don't want to be spoken down to. You want to be spoken with love and with admiration and really with life. And then the respect in the physical nature, the decision making, where sometimes
I might have a little challenge in that area.
Yeah, a little bit.
Listen, I'm okay with the first step to correcting something is to acknowledge it. And that's one thing I can acknowledge that I've always had trouble with. And I think in 2022, in this century, women, are very independent.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we find it hard to let go of that, especially if let me talk to my single women or like single mothers and things like that who have been used to doing everything on their own, who have been used to having to run a household, having to make decisions, having to take care of the kids, having to work and do everything. And I think that's just women in general. Like we tend to take on more in the family unit when it comes to that type of thing. But we have a hard time delegating and having faith that things are going to get done. But what I have learned is that we also have to be willing to give our husbands, our boyfriends, fiancés, whatever you have, our spouse, the opportunity to step up to the plate. And like you said, that is a certain level of respect, and honor. I think it kind of gives you that boost of confidence to be able to say, oh, okay, she does believe I can do this, so let me step up to the plate and do it. But when we always want things done our way, and are when you do attempt to do something, if we are degrading about the way it was done or take issue with the way it was done, even though we got the same results, maybe not the same way. I know, ladies, I know, I'm sorry, I'm saying it out loud, I know, but that's something that I've had to work on, and I think a lot of women have to work on, is just being encouraging to our spouses and giving them the opportunity to step up to the plate. And if they fall short, not hitting them over the head with it, still being empathetic in that we all fall short again. None of us are perfect, including us. And if it doesn't go as planned, still being encouraging about it and saying, I appreciate you for trying, Yeah. So work in progress over here.
And we are all a work in progress. So it's just like we've said it 1,000 times. We're ever evolving. So hearing it and being able to acknowledge, like, oh, okay, like I can see that is, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
and it can lead to you bettering yourself. It's go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just wanted to double back. I said the word honor. And that also made me think of what we talked about in our last episode when we talked about boundaries and the way we communicate to other people about our spouses, about our husbands or wives or whatever. When it comes to respect and honoring your spouse, that is huge. Respecting and honoring them to other people, you know, so that other people know like that you are going to encourage and uplift your spouse and not tear them down outside of their presence. You know, I think that that's a key when it comes down to respect, not just in front of you, not just to you directly, but in the presence of other people. You know, when I'm talking about you to other people, being respectful and positive and encouraging and uplifting in that way too.
Yeah. And it's crazy because a lot of times it could be the most simplest thing, and it would go so far with showing the respect that you have for your spouse or your significant other. You know, I don't want to keep saying spouse because this topic is for singles, it's for people that are in relationships and people that are married. So you know, for your significant other, it could go so far, as simple as, you know, maybe I'm taking the long way when I'm driving,
Y'all,
and that, you know,
I struggle.
yeah, you know, Latoya has a habit of coming out like, why you go this way?
Because I just want to get there. But I get it. Relinquishing control.
Absolutely.
I say a lot of prayers in my head in the car, yo.
I think the car is a problem.
The car is a problem. The car can be a challenging space.
It can be for everyone, because somebody cut you off and some unkind words and some inappropriate fingers get put up, and then it can lead to some things. So, you know, the cars are problems.
Cars are problems.
Yeah, they always start in trouble.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's
So, okay. So your number one is respect, right?
Yes.
So I am going to speak from my perspective. Again, this may not be for all women. I'm kind of torn between my top two. But for me, I think number one is probably communication. Because for me, that is how we connect. Like, I feel like if we're not communicating, then needs aren't being met. If we're not communicating, then we're not connecting on a higher level. You know, just in understanding each other, of intimacy, of so many other things. And I think for me, communication leads to trust. I feel like lack of communication causes mistrust, because then you feel like the person is hiding something or doesn't trust you to say whatever they need to say or to kind of reveal their heart. I know early in our relationship, that was something that we struggled with, where I was shut down initially. I don't know if we said this on another episode, but I didn't know how to communicate my feelings. So I would just be like, oh, I'm fine. But then once I learned how to, it was like, oh, okay. But then I feel like the roles were reversed, where I wanted you to communicate about everything, and you're just like, it's fine. It's, you know, not a big deal. But to me, I felt like you were closed off to me in some way. And not that something was being hidden or anything like that, but it made me feel like I wasn't getting all of you, because I felt like you couldn't or didn't want to, or whatever the case may be, communicate with me about certain things or on a certain level or whatever. So I always felt this barrier between us, because I felt like, because you're not communicating, you don't trust me with everything in you. And again, that was my perception. That doesn't mean that was the reality. But because communication is so big for me, communication and honesty, that created a barrier for us, you know, that we really had to work through. So, yeah, I think it's really important. And as we've talked about in probably every last one of our episodes this season, how key communication is for any relationship, you know, again, just being able to communicate those boundaries and needs and all of those things, because if you can't, then how can your relationship progress? How can you succeed if you don't truly know what the other needs? So yeah, that's one of my top, I would say top three.
And I think for men, when it comes to that aspect, they we are we're more simple.
Mm-hmm.
We're simple creatures.
Yeah.
We're not as emotional
and detail oriented.
Yes, we're not very detailed. I mean, again, I'm not saying all men are like this, but a lot of men are like this. You know, they're more. They don't want to allow anything in. Their answers are a little quicker and short,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be, how was your day? It was good, and that's the end of the conversation.
And I'm like, what you eat? Who you talk to?
Yeah.
Did they get on your nerves?
What
did you get all your work done?
12:01 p.m. With a flashlight in my face.
Did you have Chick-fil-A sauce with those nuggets,
exactly.
or did you get?
How many bites did it take you to eat those chicken nuggets? You want the details, and some of those details we just we're just not wired that way.
Right.
But just because we're not wired that way doesn't mean we can't put forth that effort.
Yeah.
And that's all. I feel like that's all. Our significant other wants is to show. For us to show that we're putting forth the effort, and by putting forth the effort, it shows that we care. It shows that that it means something. It shows that that they are a priority. And sometimes we may get frustrated, like, oh my gosh, she clocking me, she asking me this, she asking me that. I just answered it. I don't got nothing else to say. But that's not what they're doing. They just really want to dive into you. They want to know about you. They want to be in oneness with you. Just like you guys are joining together, you guys are becoming one. So it's like they want to do that. They want to have that
connection.
Yeah. So I think for us, we need to put forth that effort. Allow that to happen. Allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Allow ourselves to have conversations and just talk and be open, and not. Sometimes I know for me early on, it was like, I don't want to say certain things because I don't want to hurt your feelings, and it might not have been anything, bad or anything crazy, but I felt like, oh, she might look at me a certain way, or she might think differently about me, or this might hurt her feelings, and I was more trying to protect you, but by doing that, it was causing that gap not to be filled. And I think we got to make sure that we're not doing that, and that we're allowing ourselves to
be honest and open. But I think on the other side of that too, for us women, we have to work on our responses. Like, I always wanted you to be open and direct and don't sugarcoat and blah, blah, blah. But I'm also very emotional. So,
oh, Lord Jesus.
Don't get smacked, okay?
She said it.
Don't get smacked on air, okay? Don't do it to yourself, okay? Excuse us for a second, y'all. No, but I'm very emotional. So, I'll be like, tell me, just say it. And then you say it. And I'm like, why did you say that?
Or sometimes it's lose-lose. It's a lose-lose situation.
And yes, we feel that way, yes. And we went through those seasons. But I will say, once I started to not internalize your responses, or not take personally the things that you were trying to communicate, but see it from your perspective, and realize, okay, he is not intending to hurt me, but he's intending to communicate something. So let's focus on the something and not the words, and I was able to say, okay, wait, because what you just said made me feel this way. So is this what you're saying? Like, and if so, it's okay. I'm just trying to clearly understand what you're saying. But I feel like once I got to a space where I was able to receive from you, good, bad, ugly, whatever, and not flip out or not cry and get upset and be depressed about it, you opened up to me more, because you saw that I could handle. You didn't have to protect me from anything. But I believe that all comes with maturity, individual maturity, as well as maturity in your relationship, where you, again, trust each other enough to be humble and receive what your partner is trying to tell you, without feeling attacked. And sometimes maybe you will, but being able to communicate that, like, you know, when you said this is what I felt. I'm sure that's not what you intended, but this is what I felt, and I'm just communicating it to you so that in the future we can talk about how we communicate that thing.
Right.
You know, but I really appreciated that one, and that was like a light bulb went off because I saw it. It was like I don't know. It was like I saw each moment, each milestone happening back to back to back, where you communicated something, and I was just like, okay, and I could see your reaction, like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And you're like, what is happening? Is she going to stab me in the middle of the night? Like, what is going on? You know what I mean? But I could see the difference it made in you and how you were able to release and communicate certain things because I was humble enough to sit back and listen. Right. So, you know, that's something that it took a long time for us to get to that point. And I think it's something that takes a lot of people a long time, you know, working through your communication styles and all of that. But it's definitely worth it when you can step back and look at it and say, okay, let me take a step back. And how can I help him to communicate better with me? How can I create a safe space so that he's willing and okay with communicating with me? And for you, like you said, putting forth more of the effort, taking baby steps to just open up a little bit more and, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good.
All right, give me another one, sir.
I'm going to say.
Go ahead, say it. What you looking sideways for? He look kind of nervous to say this one, y'all.
No, I'm going to say words of affirmation.
That's one of that is your number one love language.
That is my number one. It really is. And I don't know where that comes from that it's my number one, but it's very important.
I do. Can I tell you real quick?
Go ahead.
All right, I don't know. This is my assumption.
Don't psychoanalyze me.
This is my assumption, okay? You are the youngest of 5 children. You are the only boy. You are the baby boy of the family, 4 older sisters, a loving, wonderful mother, an extended family who just loves you to death. So I feel like growing up, you probably got a lot of words of affirmation and that's how your family showed love to you. One of the main ways, because you could do no wrong, right? It was always like, Jose, 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 you're the best, which you are. You know, I'll go ahead and co-sign that.
Tell me more.
I take it back. No, but I feel like that may be, you know, where some of that comes from. I don't know.
That possibly could be a tiny bit of a factor in all of this. Yeah. But it's very important. And it's not just in relationship. Not in our relationship. It's in my work ethic. It's in what I do and my being, which I feel like it shouldn't be.
Well, why?
Just because, I mean, I should be doing things because those are the things that I should be doing, and because I want to do them.
Well, see, I look at it differently because I feel like you do things because you have a great work ethic. You do things because it needs to be done. It needs to be done right, and you have a good work ethic. But you just want it to be acknowledged. Like, you don't like for people to take advantage of the fact that you always put your best foot forward. I don't think that's what motivates you. I just think that because you put your best foot forward and put 150% into anything that you do, you would just appreciate it being acknowledged.
That's true. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better about myself. Those are those words of affirmation right there.
Look at that. I'm practicing, y'all. I'm practicing.
No, but I think for men in our relationship, hearing the positive and not always hearing the negative, because sometimes that negative sound could turn into nagging. It could turn into so many different things, and it can push us away, almost as if we can't do any right. We can only do wrong because that's all we're hearing. So I think being able to give those affirmations just kind of instills in us, like, okay, you know, they see what I'm doing. They acknowledge it. They, you know, and that's all I think we really want in our, like, not all, but one of the main things we want in our relationship is to be acknowledged, and not always when we're having conversations that it's something negative, because that could then hinder
That
your number one, that communication, because every time we have communication, I'm just getting bashed over here. It's always negative. It's always, why'd you do this and why'd you do that? And then now I don't want to talk. I don't want to have that communication. And now my wall is up, because every time we go into communication, I'm not getting words of affirmation. It's the opposite happening. So I think for us, we want that. And for women, I think by doing that, you in turn help yourselves with, like you said, your number one, which is communication. So I really think that's a good one for.
Yeah. And I think also, we talked about what were we saying earlier? About giving you the opportunity, to step into whatever it is. But it's encouragement to you, supporting you, I feel like, is what I'm trying to say, seems to be really important. Like supporting your endeavors, encouraging you, reminding you, listen, no matter what, I got your back, like I'm it. This is it, regardless of what happens, you're still it for me. You're still my king. You're still the head of this household. You know what I mean? And just making sure that we're speaking life into you, not just, oh, you did a good job, but like, I believe in you, like that type of thing too.
Yeah. You called me your king, by the way.
Boy, you already know.
Hey, she's my queen to be. Oh yeah, that happened.
Yo, this is definitely the last episode. Yo.
Oh yeah, you guys, listen, y'all coming back.
I'm sorry. All right, let me get myself. Okay, so words.
I got her on that one.
So I wasn't
she
ready.
was not expecting that.
Oh, I wasn't ready. All right, words of affirmation.
Yes.
For you guys. All right, so I'm gonna say the next one for me as a woman would have to be unconditional love and affection. Again, I'm a very emotional person. For me, when I say love and affection, that's more like quality time and just showing me that you want to be with me and spend time with me and cuddle up and that type of thing. Now, love is shown in many different ways. And it's different in every relationship. It's different with every individual. Like we talked about the love languages. Everybody has a different love language. But for me, like that affection, unconditional love. And when I say unconditional love, like for women, I think it's really important as we evolve, as we have kids, as we grow older, physically, regardless of what I look like, how bloated I am today, what my hair looks like, that I have my do-rag on, that I just had 3 babies, or whatever the case may be, that you still have that same love and affection for us, regardless of the way we may be feeling about our body from day to day, and for me, like we talked about words of affirmation, that is like my last love language. I'm not good with words of affirmation. Jose will tell me I'm beautiful from sun up to sundown. And I just like, okay, I heard you. Thanks. Like it makes me uncomfortable, whereas I have to make that additional effort to give him that because that's not my love language. But as uncomfortable as those things make me feel, they also help me in my self-esteem, even though I'm like, oh, okay, stop saying it. Or, boy, you lying. I look a mess today. But in reality, we need that. I need that, just because women in general, we're very hard on ourselves when it comes to our bodies, when it comes to the way we look. And it has a lot to do with society and our upbringing and all those other things and different things we've been through. But for our spouses to show us that, listen, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still attracted to you and only you, and nothing has changed, okay, you got a few gray hairs, okay, your belly's a little bigger than it used to be, okay, whatever the case may be. that definitely I think is necessary for women, so that we know that you still not just, okay, you're coming home to me because we're married and we got a family and you got to be here, but that you still desire us and you still want to be here with us. So I think that's really important in a relationship.
No, it is. And I try to tell you
You do a great job.
these things.
I listen. I don't know the term to use. I reject it a lot.
A lot.
I do.
All the time.
I know. I'm working on it.
But it's okay, because guess what? It does not stop me
It
from
doesn't.
doing it.
And I
Because it's
appreciate
needed.
that. I appreciate that. And for me, I reject it because, and not intentionally. Let me say that. I'm using that word reject just for lack of a better term. But because again, that's not my love language, and I don't know how to respond when I receive compliments, and and that goes with anything, not just physical, but like even growing up when I would do something good, or like even as an adult when I would have an accomplishment and people were like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I was like, I just did what I was supposed to do. Like, it's not that serious. That's always been my response. Like, I just felt like, and maybe that comes with me being the older sibling, where the oldest sibling, where it was always like, do what you got to do. You know better. Like, set the tone for my sister. And for my younger cousins or whoever, I was told people are looking up to you. So I always felt like I had to set a certain standard. So when people tell me, oh my goodness, you did such a great job, I'm like, please stop. Like, I just did what I need to do. And I think it's the same when it comes to receiving compliments from you, where I just don't know how to receive it. But again, I appreciate it. So I don't intentionally reject it. I just still haven't figured out how to get comfortable with receiving it, I'll say.
Well, it doesn't matter, because it's not just things that I'm saying. Like, it's all truth. They're all facts. It's the way that I see you. It's the way that I feel about you. And it doesn't matter how many times you're like, oh my gosh, stop. It's the truth, so I'm going to continue to do it.
And I asked you to communicate with me, so.
And I'm communicating how I feel. But
I
yeah,
appreciate
no,
it, though.
I think that's very, very important. For us to do those things, to tell you how we feel about you, about how you look to us, how you make us feel, I think it's very, very important that we are able to verbalize those things. Because if we don't, it almost could lead to the questions, if you're not telling me that, well, who you telling it to,
Yeah.
And that's not what we want to do, because that's not the case. We want to make sure that you understand that you're my one and only, and that's the end of it, and I'm going to continue to do those things, and I'm going to keep telling you how I feel and how beautiful you are. And
I appreciate that. Thank you, baby. All right. So.
And then the last one for me.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's getting down to the nitty gritty.
I don't know if it's the last one, but it's the last one we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
today.
it's the last one.
It might really be the first one, but.
Yeah, it might be number one. It's like 1, A, B, and C. Those topics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sex.
Mm-hmm.
Of the physical nature.
Of the physical, what other kind of sex is there?
Who knows nowadays?
Oh man, yeah, I think probably 98.9993% of men, sex is going to be in their top 3 when you talk about the needs of a man.
Yes.
In a relationship.
Yes. It's very important.
Mm-hmm.
It's needed.
I read something that said men think of intimacy in physical terms, so sex, and women think of intimacy in emotional terms, talking. So
men, here's a tip. Have a conversation first.
You get on my
All right, no,
nerves.
seriously.
No, but that's true.
But it is true.
It's true in the sense of like, okay, have you ever heard the term men are like microwaves and women are like crock pots?
Yeah.
So when it comes to sex, so men, you can turn it on and off, whatever.
The wind can blow
The
the wrong way.
wind. Listen.
And it's time to go.
And I ain't talking about a big gusty wind, y'all. I'm talking about you open the screen door
like
and
a
you get a
little
little breeze coming in.
That's it.
That's all they need, honey.
That's
Whereas for women, we need like some love and affection. We need you to show us something throughout the day. Like you gotta let it stew. We need some massaging, some hugs and kisses and, just good conversation, that sense of intimacy. Yep. Like, get me into a space where I'm not mad about something else. Get me into a space where I'm not thinking about everything else that's going on.
So I look at it like, all right, your love tank is on E, and I have to fill it up, right? So I have to do the things that I know is gonna fill up your love tank, right?
Yeah.
Men's tank is like
it's never
an
running.
Unlimited source of gas. It's never empty.
Ever.
So that's how I look at it, right? So I know that now. Early on it was frustrating, you know what I mean? But now I understand it. I get it. So it's like easier to navigate, and I know the things that I can do that would fill that love tank up.
Fill my tank up, boy. Okay, I like that. And I think, you know what? I'm noticing that everything that we've talked about both perspectives on it. And that's just something I want to point out. When it comes to relationship, we have to remember that it's about compromise. It's about meeting somewhere in the middle and supporting each other through, but also some sacrifice, and we have to figure out a way to meet each other's needs. And most of the time, that means we have to sacrifice something, some time, some energy, negative thought pattern, whatever it is. But, relationships, and especially marriage, they're full of sacrifice, but it's good sacrifice because you're giving up something of yourself to give more to your spouse, and to come closer together in oneness, like you said earlier. But anyway, back to what I was going to say. That sacrifice, just like you say, you have had to learn how to kind of navigate that, where it's like, okay, I know there's certain things, if I want her to be in the mood, there's certain things that I need to do to make sure she is cool, calm, and collected and not stressed out, at this point. And for me, it was like, okay, I know that, I gotta get there, but what, I guess it takes more for me to fill up that love tank, like you said, but also being okay with those times where it's like, listen, my love tank ain't filled, but I want to make sure you're taken care of, bro. Do what we got to do, but getting that to that understanding, because it wasn't always that way, where even if I try to do that, it's like, you're not into it. I don't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? So making sure that we are on the same page, making sure that we are communicating and having those conversations to say, okay, this is what I need. This is what you need. How can we come to a happy medium, where neither of us is completely dissatisfied, but that we can come together so that both of us are getting what we need,
Yep.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I want to go so much deeper into that conversation, but guess what?
That's going to be a topic
in season 2.
That's right.
So, as we get ready to take this little break, and prepare for the next season and all the other great things that Millennium Marriage has coming up for you, stew on that, okay? We want you guys to reach out to us and let us know if there's other topics you want to hear about. I'm letting you know right now, just gave you a little hint. Intimacy on all levels will be one of the topics in season 2. We're talking about all types of intimacy, not just physical, emotional, all of that. So that'll be a topic, and we have some other ones lined up. But yeah, let us know. Reach out to us on social media at Millennium Marriage on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, or I don't know the other ones, but social media. And visit our website, www.millenniummarriage.com. Anything else, babe?
No, just want to say thank you for all the support.
Yeah, man.
All the listening. We love you all, and we can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, thanks for all the feedback, and we will see you guys then. But
we will hear them.
We won't see you.
We won't hear them either. So
we might see some of you. I don't know, because we got some things coming up.
Yeah, we do got some things coming up.
So stay tuned.
You'll listen to us later.
So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay encouraged and keep investing in each other for a marriage that will last a lifetime. Later.
Peace out.
If you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and share. Keep up with us on social media at Millennium Marriage and visit our website at millenniummarriage.com.